Well, we're going to record that right now and talk about what we're going to do as soon as we're done, Phil.
Order a new microphone stand. Tabletop.
Ordering the tabletop. But the problem is with the tabletop, we can't be all excited like we normally are.
No, they have these like pads on the bottom of them usually.
See, I'm pretty rough though, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you got crazy with it, might be a different story.
Speaking of crazy with it, I'm back in the captain's chair today. That's pretty crazy. I'm feeling all crazy. I need to get Captain Darryl right here on my shirts, on my OTG shirts. Can I get Captain across the shoulders?
Those polos? Yeah, Captain on the back.
Get Captain.
Or just, not Cap.
Cap.
No. Wait. Do we get Captain on the back or just Cap right here on the sleeve, on the bicep?
Well, we would. I don't know if they make a font size big enough for my biceps. I mean, it'd have to be size 800 million or something.
Yeah, that'd probably be a problem.
Have you seen these bad boys?
Yeah, that'd probably be an
issue.
issue.
Texas right there is actual size. All right. Man. So you know how like whenever I was telling Lucas about this earlier, like you got the same car and you've had it for a while and you do like your car, but then like you have that one day where you go to the car wash, clean it all up, put armor on the tires, get the oil changed, you fill up the washer fluid reservoir, put some wiper blades on it, and then like you're kind of like sitting in your car and you're like, man, this is badass. This is my car. That's how the captain's chair feels right now. I'm all comfortable. I got some armrests.
Cleaned her up, hit a vacuum, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like
little polish.
Little armor on the dash. You know what I'm saying?
Makes a difference.
It does make a difference, dude. So...
Do you ever judge somebody by the cleanliness of their car?
Oh, I'm judging you. If your car is filthy, now look, if you got a little clutter in there, or maybe you got like a weightlifting belt or something in the back seat, whatever, right?
Right.
I'm talking about like people that kind of smells weird and they got like empty chip bags and like fast food bags on the floor and like it's just freaking gross. I'm judging you, bro.
I'm letting you know you're being judged.
You're being judged by me.
Yeah.
If that's you, I'm judging you right now.
No doubt.
No doubt. So speaking of judging people, has nothing to do with our topic today.
Zero. So I was like, what are you getting at with this?
So actually, for the listeners at home today, this episode is Phil's idea. Usually I come up with all the ideas or the guests. We just interview the guest for to talk about who they are and what they do. But today, Phil said he had something on his mind and he wanted to talk about it. So I'm going to let Phil present the topic.
Okay.
And look, for the viewers at home,
zero notes.
I don't have any notes because this is Phil's idea, but I do have a couple of specific things that I want to point out throughout the show because ever since he told me about the idea, I've kind of been brainstorming, thinking about some things I want to add. So Phil, take it away, man. Tell him what's on your mind and let's go from there.
Sure. Well, it started because I texted you last week. Someone asked me for a particular photo from many years ago.
Yeah.
So I was scrolling through my phone. I don't know if you ever do this, but anybody listening too, if you never just go to the oldest pictures on your phone and just scroll through them, you know, take a few minutes, don't do it all day. Could take some people all day, but take a few minutes, scroll through them and just remember the times of your past.
Yeah.
And the things that you've been through. And these photos that I found, you know, not all of them you're exactly proud of.
Right, yeah.
You know, but I found a bunch of us, mostly you and me, and some of our other friends as well.
Right.
And I just sent them to everyone. I sent a bunch to you. Probably
the people that were in the photos,
in the photos.
You sent it to them. Okay.
At least like 10 or 15 I sent to you. A few I sent to Richard. A few I sent to Logan, Chase, and so on.
Right.
And I was just like, man, these were such fun times in my life. But if you compare them to the things that we're doing now, you would never guess.
Right.
Honestly, in my head, I'm like, I can't believe this is the same person.
Right.
And the point is that the things that you do in your past don't have to determine your future.
Yes.
That's the big takeaway.
Yes.
And that's kind of, I messaged you the photos and we were just talking about how, man, we did stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know, Darryl
I responded. What did I say?
It was like, drank too much.
Didn't sleep enough. Didn't train hard enough. Didn't save any money.
Yeah. Spent money didn't save money.
And I went on this rant, but what did I end it with though?
Look at where things are now.
Look at us now.
That's right. And it just, when you said, I mean, I thought about it before, but lightly. When you said that though, then I really started thinking like, oh man, you know, just because you messed up and I'm not saying what we did was messing up either. I'm not saying that at all because there's something to be said for living your life and having fun, enjoying the times, especially when you're young. I think that's really important. And I actually, by living those experiences, helped us become the people we are today.
Yep.
Right? Good or bad, whatever you want to call it. It just made me realize that it's okay if you've messed up or made what you consider poor decisions in your past. They're not poor decisions. Maybe, well, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Some of them probably are poor decisions, but not, the point is that they can be overcome.
Yes. Okay. I was gonna stop you and I was gonna chime in and say, I definitely made some poor decisions, a whole bunch of them.
Same.
Now, they were poor decisions, whether or not I like it, whether or not I like to admit it, which I do admit it. I made some poor decisions. However, that being said,
I'm just pulling up some of them. I'm not going to necessarily show them or anything. I'm just pulling them up for my own reminiscing purposes and to like kind of speak on some maybe specifics or something,
Well, I think something to be, or I was on a track just now.
Sorry.
So they are mistakes or they are poor decisions, but they can all be overcome.
Yeah.
Your past is not your future. And I think I saw a post the other day. I think it was Ed Milet was talking about how, I think maybe he was on the phone, I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
He was on the phone with one of his buddies and his buddy was like, oh man, you remember that time and blah, blah, blah. And we remember this and we did that. And you remember? And Ed was like, well, I don't know. And the guy was like, oh, come on. You remember and all this, that, and the other. And Ed was like, I don't know. And the guy was like, man, you have a poor memory. And Ed was like, no, I just don't spend very much time remembering because that's not who I am now. I'm growing and there's so much work to do here and now and looking forward to the future that I don't spend time remembering too much stuff. And he talked about, he was like, listen, that's not to say, I don't have good times that I look back on or I don't ever reminisce or I don't have any great memories that I hold dear to me. He's just saying that he spends as much time as he can consciously trying to live in that moment and look ahead rather than spending time looking back because he's not going that way.
Right.
And Jack, he didn't look back. He wasn't going that way.
Right.
But I think that is a really cool way to look at it. Not that like you have to erase it from your memory.
No.
Or you have to intentionally try to forget, but just focus on the here and now. What do you have going on right now and where do you want to be?
Yeah. And I think that, you saying that first, when you were saying that, I was like, man, am I making a mistake by thinking about these things in these photos? But now I've thought about it for about 30 seconds as you were talking. I haven't thought about those things in those photos. All of those photos are at least from 20.
They're probably
13, 2014.
8 years, 9 years old.
I haven't thought about anything in any of those photos in at least 6, 7 years, probably.
Yeah.
And that's why, to be honest, it was so fun.
Yeah.
And so exciting to look at them. And I was excited to send them to, and us look at them like, dude, look at these.
Yeah.
Shitty things that we used to do.
I don't know about shitty things, but like non-productive.
Yeah, that's the better word. Sorry. Yeah.
Mindless. And,
mindless is a decent word.
And they were kind of like, we were just kids doing dumb shit, having fun.
Yeah, just having a good time. Yeah. And I haven't thought about those things in a long time.
Yeah.
But when you see the photo, and honestly, seeing a photo hits you a little bit harder than just thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you think about it, it's one thing.
Well, it's more real. You see the photo or the video, and it's like it brings that memory to life.
That's right.
Action on the screen, like it's real, live. That we were living in that moment, and so it's more than just like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. You're like, oh wow, you remember all the specifics. Who was with you?
Yep.
Who was around you? Where were you at? Maybe you remember.
You might remember like that day. Say it was at night, because most of these things are all like at night, right?
Yeah, that period of your life in general, right? You get to kind of relive it. So, point is that the past doesn't define you. Now,
right.
one of the points I wanted to bring up, and I feel like this is a pretty interesting one, because if you tell somebody, I guess it's somewhat cliche to be like, hey, the past doesn't define you. You hear that a lot, right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you are not your past. You are not who you used to be. And while I think that's very important and people really need to think about that and take it to heart and remember that they're not who they used to be, most people will look at, oh, that means you are not the negative things you used to do. Also, let's look at the other side of that equation. If you did great things in the past, you still need to keep doing great things in the future.
Yeah,
you
great point.
You still need to keep moving forward and making progress. You can make all the progress in the world in the past, and the moment that you stop, you're going backwards.
I agree.
You got to keep getting better. You got to keep trying to achieve your goals. Your goals have to keep growing. They have to keep pivoting, right? And I'm not saying that you should abandon your goals, but never stop progressing is what I'm saying. Never stop moving forward. So yeah, you did some great things in the past. You made a lot of progress. That doesn't matter.
Don't become stagnant.
Don't become stagnant.
Yeah.
So you are not the productive, good things you did in the past, but also good news. You're also not the unproductive, bad mistakes that you did in the past either. That's not who you are either.
It's a great point.
You are here. You are who you are right now, right here. And don't spend too much time remembering those things. I'm not saying to forget the memory.
Right.
But spend more time focusing on who you are now, what you're doing now, where you're going. What does Jocko say? Who are you now? Who do you want to be? And what are you doing about it? Those are the 3 questions you need to ask yourself every morning when you wake up. And I try to remember that on a regular basis. Who are you now? Who do you want to be? What are you going to do about it? Or what are you doing about it? Right?
Yeah, and I think that there's a good mixture between like not remembering, but remembering / moving forward from your past, but also living in the moment. So if you are living in a moment where you don't necessarily feel great about your decisions on a regular basis, like you're like, man, these past 6 months, I kind of made some poor decisions.
Yep.
I know that, I've even already made a commitment for this weekend that maybe I shouldn't do and things like that. Don't forget that it's not completely unproductive, because I'd like to say this, even during those times, I bet you can't count on one hand how many times I was late for work.
Yeah.
You can still, even during periods of bad decisions and, or I hate using the word bad decision, but poor decision making in general, not super progressive or super productive all the time.
Yeah.
There's still something to be said about this period of your life.
Yep.
You can still get things done.
Yep.
You can still show up for work, do what you need to do, even
you always have time.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I don't have time excuse. So I think what you're trying to say, Phil, is I'm the one who usually drags things out and talks and beats dead horses constantly and says too much about things. But I think in summary, what you're trying to say is, even if you were making some poor decision, you can extract the good from that.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You can extract the bad and turn it into a good and say, okay, I know that was bad. The good thing is I'm not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah, take the lesson.
Take the lesson from it, right? So you can take all these negative times, poor decisions, periods of your life, extract the lessons, whether they were, okay, I learned that you learned during those times that you can not allocate your time well and be super busy out having fun, but you also know that you did that and you graduated college. You were never late to work. You started your own business, all while doing those things. So you know that you can be massively productive even when you're kind of dicking off, right?
Yeah.
And okay, so now let's take the bad things. Your physique wasn't exactly where you wanted to be.
Wasn't ideal.
Your physique wasn't ideal in your mind. So you can extract, okay, I was drinking too much alcohol. I was eating too much crap after we went out to the bar, and
mostly Jack in the Box and Whataburger.
Hell yeah. My training wasn't as intense as it needed to be. So while those are negative things about that time in your life, you can extract the good and say, okay, well, I know that these 3 things are not a good formula for me, right?
That's right.
And that's probably most case for everybody. I'm just trying to make an example of what you're talking about, because I was there. Yeah. I know the mistakes that we were all making, especially me. I don't feel great about them. But that's not who I am anymore. That's not where I'm going. And I try not to spend too much time remembering that, too much time in my mind. And at this point in my life, I don't. There was a time period where I think I did have some regret, and I spent a little bit of time thriving on that, but I'm at a point now where progress,
is the most
important thing.
It has the front of your mind.
It has the forefront of my brain. It's right in front of my face. It's the carrot that's dangled in front of me every day now. Progress, move forward, relentlessly pursuing greatness. Right. And, that's what I try to wake up. Hey, who am I right now? I am Darryl, and, I'm a Christian, and I'm a husband, and I'm an employee, and I'm a small-time investor. That's who I am right now. Where am I going? I am trying to get myself into a place where I'm a better Christian. I'm a better husband. I do more in the community. I am able to get my investments to a place where I can retire sooner rather than later. That's where I'm going. That's who I want to be. I want to have somebody who has a lot of my free time back and time that belongs to me that I can give to God, and I can give to my wife, and I can give to my potential future kids. Right. So last question, what am I doing about it? I'm making sure that, I'm training and dieting, at least moderately well, so that I can maintain physical health, because without physical health, none of these things are possible. I'm dead, right? Or I'm incapacitated in some way. I'm trying to make sure that my finances are tracked. I know what's coming in. I know what's going out. I'm trying to make sure that the proper percentages are being saved, and the proper percentages are being invested, and the proper percentages are being used for my wife and I to create memories together.
Enjoy
life as well. So you got to make sure all that's allocated well. So that's kind of the answer to the question of what am I doing about it? And so that's kind of who I am now. And in the past, I didn't really have a plan. I didn't really, of course, everybody, hey, what do you want in life? I want to be happy and I want to be rich. Okay, well, those are two very vague goals. And people say, well, no, because if you're happy, you're happy. And if you're rich, you're rich. Well, happiness looks different for everybody. And I will argue that rich looks different for everybody. Me, rich isn't being massively monetary wealthy. Now, let me stop. I would love to be a multi-billionaire. That would be very convenient. I would like that situation.
Same.
However, to me, rich is having all of my time. I decide what to do with my time. If I don't have billions in the bank, but I have enough invested and enough, I'm going to say, it would fall under the investing umbrella. I have enough business ownership or enough investment ownership to where I don't have to go work a 9 to 5 until I'm 70 years old. To me, that's rich. My time, having my time back. Now, there's people out there that are massively monetary wealthy that don't own a lot of their time. Think about, let's think about an MLB player. Most of them are massively wealthy, right? The good ones, anyway. They have 100, how many games a year?
162.
162 games, give or take. One game a day. So that's, about half your year, right? And then you have, there's spring training. And then there's, they have to, so you have spring training, which is several weeks, a month, 2 months. And then you go into your 160, 170 game season. And yeah, you have some time off, right? A couple months out of the year. But during that season, you don't own your time. The MLB owns your time, right? And that's just one small example that I can think of off the top of my head. There's people that own massive corporations that are huge, unrealistically wealthy. But guess what? That business owns their time. And then there's some CEOs that are massively rich that have hired somebody and paid him $1 million a year to run the show, and they just go off on their yacht and they do whatever they want, and that's fine. They can do whatever they want. That to them, that's wealthy. But to me, having my time and being able to live the lifestyle I want to live without reporting to a 9 to 5 is rich, and that's happy to me.
Yeah, and I think that that's a great goal that's very achievable that you're currently working towards.
Oh, and be jacked.
Well, yeah.
Right?
You're already there.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm trying to look like OTG_Lucas.
Oh, yeah?
Trying to get jacked like that guy. I don't know.
Too bad he's still going to lose. But, you know.
On Friday, we're going to find out, boys.
We will find out on Friday.
So we're recording on a Tuesday right now, which is very weird. Friday's our recording day, but not today.
Nope.
Today we had time. So Phil,
Yeah.
I talked a little bit about, and you know, that kind of wasn't a plan, but I talked a little bit about who I am now, who do I want to be, and what am I doing about it versus who I was in the past. I didn't really have a plan. I wasn't financially savvy. There was no end game. It was kind of a day to day. I woke up day to day and just did whatever felt good or right or fun or whatever, right? In that moment. And I think there's something to be said for living in the moment too. But I was making some poor decisions. I wasn't progressing in life. I wasn't moving really towards any goals. And more recent years, I've changed that. I talked about who I am, who I want to be, and what I'm doing about it. What does that look like for you? Let's hear Phil talk about it.
Ooh, okay.
Let's start with now, and then we'll talk compare to the past. Or no, you can start with the past, and then compare to now, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so what's the first question? Who I am now?
No. Who were you in the past?
Okay.
And then who are you now?
Okay.
Who do you want to be, and what are you doing about it?
Man, in the past, I've had several pasts. You know, if anybody doesn't know, as a child, you know, I grew up with a single mom. She passed away when I was a teenager, when I was 15. So
shout out, Christy.
Yeah, at that time I was a very depressed. I had, as a teenager, I had depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, and PTSD, all diagnosed.
You're obese
and overweight because of those things.
Right? Yeah.
You know,
it was it all played together.
So there was that point in my life, right? And then I lost weight, really changed my life.
Let me ask you this: did you really have a goal in mind?
Zero. At that time in my life, I
know the answer. I just want.
I definitely remember just like hoping for one day to get a decent job out in the plants. You know, $25, $30 an hour. Like, you know, live my life
enough to get by.
And I didn't know any different. Yeah. You know, nobody told me
that was
different.
the dream.
And that was the dream for sure. And let's see. After that, you know, that's when I kind of found fitness and lost weight. And then I went through a phase of, this is kind of like, after that is the phase that started this whole conversation, right? So I had my first drink of alcohol shortly before I turned 21. This is not something I talk about very often, but my mom was also a heavy drinker, substance abuse.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's not something I usually talk about, but because of that,
kind of scared you a little bit.
I was very, very anti everything.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Yeah. You saw her struggle with it.
Yeah. Anti-alcohol, anti any type of drugs. Now, obviously, I don't do drugs at all. Right. Never have, never tried.
Yeah, for drugs.
Yeah. But I was like, I looked down on anybody and everybody that did those things.
Right, yeah. Just because you had a mom that struggled and you thought that...
that was bad.
Anybody does that's bad, those things are bad.
Yeah. So I went through... That's how I was when I was a teenager. Right?
I remember that.
And then right around turning 21, shortly before...
Yeah.
I got kind of peer pressured into drinking one night, and I really liked it.
Yeah.
And
you got drunk.
Yeah.
And it felt good.
Felt good. I liked it.
Got
and then
it was
probably like 4 years, 3 or 4 years of that. I ended up dropping out of college. Stopped going to college. Never stopped going to work.
That's right.
But I did stop going to college.
Shout out Wayne.
Yeah, no doubt. That guy changed my life. But yeah. And actually, the reason I went back to college, same person.
Well, that's why I said shout out Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were working for Wayne, and Wayne was the one who got you. That's kind of why I said it.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So I went back. Ended up going back. But anyways, that phase in my life. Once again, I think that I was just thinking about getting by, living for the weekend. You know, that's the type of person I was. Hey, I get my bills paid.
Got some new shoes.
Yeah, get exactly some new shoes. I wanted to look good.
Sound system in the truck.
Yep, sound system in the truck. Lift on the truck. Rims on the truck.
Yeah.
You know, all the things.
Armor on the tire.
Yeah, you got to. And still have that truck, by the way, with all those things.
Is it here?
Yeah.
Yeah, right out front. Yeah. It's parked right out front.
With all those things on it
07
still.
Tacoma.
That's right.
Silver, baby.
Mm-hmm. Truck's 16 years
Sylvia,
old.
by the way.
And, but yeah, so there was that point in my life. And how long did that last? Yeah, 4 or 5 years probably. You know, and that's like I said, what kind of started this whole thing. And, you know, it was a lot of fun, definitely living for the moment, which I think that's fine. Even now, I still try to make sure that I live for the moment with my future in mind at the same time, right? It's that good balance of the two. But yeah, at that time, it really was just get by. I'm off this weekend.
Party. Go back to it
What
again.
can we do? You know, girls, right?
What nightclub we going to?
Yeah, exactly. You know, what's the plan?
How can we
You know,
afford to buy some drinks?
yeah, who we hanging out with? You know what I mean? Who's all going?
Who's all going?
Yeah. Where are we
The
meeting?
number one question.
Yeah,
Who's all going?
Yeah. Where are we meeting?
Yeah.
Who's driving? Like those were the things. Whose gas are we using?
That
like
we're worried about.
those were the things we were worried about, right? What house party can we find?
Yeah.
And what bar is close by?
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
So
I think I was there for all these phases. I think the next phase you're about to go into is a very interesting one. And we talked about it recently. So are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I'm not sure.
The next phase that Phil went through was kind of flip that on its head.
Yeah.
If you're doing any of those things, you're losing.
That's right.
So go into that a little bit.
Okay. So yeah.
So time goes by, you kind of grow out of that a little bit, per se, and then go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, time goes by and I ended up going back to school and never really liked school, but I got extremely motivated. You know, it was work or nothing else.
Yeah.
There was nothing else.
Work, train, school, that's it.
That's it. Nothing else mattered. If you did anything else.
Sell everything you own.
Yep. If you do anything else, you're a loser.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
You went through that phase for a long time.
That's a mistake also.
This guy would sleep. He would go to bed at like 3 or 4 in the morning. I know that because our rooms were across the hallway from each other. And I could hear him. And I would get up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning. And you would be awake at like 2 or 3. You'd wake up at 7. Go to work. Go to the gym. Come home at 8 o'clock. You're cooking dinner. You're in your room listening to YouTube videos of how to monetize certain entrepreneur opportunities. And I remember all these things. So you're like going, this guy was laser.
It was the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And
Shredded.
Yeah, and that too. That was probably the best shape I've ever been in.
Detroit picture.
And I think about that sometimes when I tell myself that I don't feel like it, or that I don't have time, or I don't feel like staying up tonight because I need to get some work done, or I don't feel like getting up in the morning. And I remember those times, and it is very motivating.
Yeah.
But as motivating as it is, I think that it's a problem for sure. Because another thing that I wanted to make sure that we kind of touched on here is that we remember these times that we went through in the past and don't judge people if they're in that phase of their life. Do not do that.
Do not do that.
I'm the worst. But we've talked about this plenty of times, the license plate thing and all kinds of stuff. You know, you do it, it's a reaction, and then you got to get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's a problem. That's a bad place to be as well.
Yeah.
You know,
and so I know we're not finished yet. I have a little bit of a story I want to talk about. Let me let you finish. So fast forward a little bit. You start your own business, and now you are kind of, for lack of a better term, a hybrid. You're kind of in the middle of these things. What are the 3 questions, Phil? Who are you right now? Who and where do you want to be? And what are you doing about it? Go.
Right now?
Right now.
So who am I right now?
Right now.
Right now, I think I'm in a discovery time in my life, actually.
Okay.
People probably think that sounds weird. Nope. But I feel like that's where I'm at. I just went through a lot in my life recently, a lot of changes.
Yep.
And I really do feel like I'm in a new discovery zone of what my life should be. So I really don't know.
Recalibrating.
Yeah, recalibration is a very good word because each one of those phases that we just talked about, that's what you're doing. You're trying to figure out your future. And you're in that. I think I'm in the beginning of a new phase right now that I'd like to answer that question. And it sounds kind of dumb, but I've never really thought about it. Who am I right now? I don't know. I know.
And that's okay.
And here's some things that I do know. I do know that I'm working towards.
This is who you want to be.
Okay.
Who do you want to be?
Yeah. I guess that's more.
You're somebody right now who's in a discovery phase that just went through a lot of major changes this year and late last year. A handful of really big changes in your life. We don't have to go into them. So right now you're discovering who you are in this moment.
Yeah.
Who do you want to be?
Who do I want? Well, I think I'm trying to discover my true potential. Or I know what my potential is, but I don't know how to get there.
Right.
I think is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So
What's the potential? Where are you going?
Want to be? And I think honestly, it's easier for me to answer this question thinking of only the greatest, because I'd rather people know what that is than know who I am.
Yeah.
And so what I want to be, or what I want only the greatest to be, is something that touches people in a deeper way, gets to their heart, gets to their mind in a way that shows them what their potential is as well. Because like I said, I know what my potential is. I just don't know how to get there.
So what you're saying right now is you want to be a brand builder of the brand that helps people derive their own potential.
That's right.
Pull their own potential out of them. The brand that helps people say, this is who I want to be. You want to be the guy who creates that brand and helps people find that in their life.
If you're asking me, I just want to be the guy that creates that.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So at the end of the day, let's shorten up the story. You want to be the guy who helps people unlock their full potential.
Yep. And I want to...
You want to build the brand that does it.
And I want to create a fun, sustainable lifestyle that shows
program almost
that shows people that you can be successful, extremely successful, not just like making $100K a year, driving a Benz,
whatever.
That's not success, right? But I'm talking real success at the same time as enjoying your life,
have fun,
and having a good time, and being healthy, fit, all at the same time.
Check all the boxes.
Check all the boxes.
I like it.
Yeah. And what exactly that looks like, I think it's hard to answer because it's different for everyone.
So I just told you what I thought was rich, right?
Yeah. What is it for me?
Yeah.
It's building this brand. That's what it is for me.
Yeah.
But what it is for everyone else is different. So I struggle to answer that.
Yeah.
You know?
So what are you doing about it?
So right now, our main thing is getting OTG Fitness, this local personal training gym, to a point where it doesn't need all of my time. And then, so we're working on that for sure. We just made a lot of big moves.
Episode coming up. Talk about that a little bit.
To be able to do that, right? So we're doing that. It is pretty sustainable, you know. I definitely could step out more, but I don't, because I like it. And honestly, I'm scared. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm scared every day. Yeah. You know, I'm worried. Every single day I'm scared.
That means you live an atypical big life, Phil. Because if it was comfortable, you wouldn't be going anywhere.
No, I'm scared every day. I'm very uncomfortable every day. It's very scary. Taking one day off. Honestly, I get depressed about it. It's a bad thing. It's something I'm working on, is not getting feelings of, and I hate to use the word depression because that's a serious thing. Like, I'm just talking thing. I still struggle with ups and downs. I've suffered through depression on and off my whole life. And, but yeah, a single day of non-productivity really gets to me mentally pretty bad. You know, I'll end up sleeping in and beating myself up all day. So it's something that I'm really working on for sure. But, you So yeah, trying to get the gym nice and sustainable so I can be there a little bit less. I do have some other ideas as well. Christie's cones, we talked about that. I really want to do that.
Christie's car wash
by next summer. Yeah, I'd like to do those things.
Christie's cones and car wash. Christie's cones at the car wash.
It's a car wash with a food truck.
Shh.
Don't tell anyone.
Don't tell anybody.
But here's Gary Vee says this. Don't worry about it because they ain't going to do it as good as you anyways.
Damn right.
Let them try.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I want to do those things, but for sure, only the greatest is in the forefront. These are just things that I have on my mind as well. But currently, they all revolve around the gym producing enough revenue and profit for me to be able to pursue these other things.
Yeah.
And I do spend a lot of time in the cryptocurrency space as well. Because
that was me being like an alien.
One, I like it, and I do see a lot of potential, and I see it as one of my investment vehicles to be able to get to these other goals. Because
vehicle,
yeah, unfortunately slash doesn't matter. It requires money to do all these things that we want to do.
Yeah.
Right. So
money's you have to have money.
It's the vehicle that gets us where we want to go, So I spend a lot of time on those things as well.
Yep.
Because once again, we need money to get there. People at the gym need jobs. They got to get paid, right? We got to do marketing. We got to, provide a good environment, provide a good service and all those things. So that's definitely the main thing on my mind. And then we have these other ideas to help continue to build the brand. We're working a lot on this podcast, right? The YouTube channel, and those types of things. So that's kind of to answer the question of what we're doing about it.
So for the first time ever in the history of our 30 years, Phil's answer was longer than mine. Let me break it down for you. Phil is somebody who is in a discovery phase of his life.
I think so, yeah.
And he's trying to figure out, I guess, build a path forward. You're trying to figure out exactly where you want, or exactly how you're going to get to your goal, which is who you want to be, is the guy who helps change lives in the way that you help people find their real potential and pull it out of themselves. So you're the guy in the discovery phase. You're trying to find the avenue to get there. And what you're doing about it is diversifying and going all in on this brand so that you can be more places, more times, instead of just in this one spot doing this one thing over and over again. So you're diversifying your investment portfolio. You're diversifying in gym ownership and operation, and you're building business ideas, whether they're in your head or they're actually taking place. You're building those, you're modeling those out, and trying to, I guess, you're trying to imagine all the man, what am I trying to say here?
I don't know.
So you're trying to man, I don't even know. I'm at a loss for words. You're trying to imagine up what's your life to be right now.
Yeah, you could say
and
that.
You're trying to
fathom how all of these things can actually happen.
How they all work together, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because you see these hyper successful people, and you're like, man, how did you do all those things? Well, in my opinion, the way that they do all these things is they got really good at one thing in the beginning, and for me, that's the gym.
Right.
That's OTG Fitness. That's that one thing that opens the doors to everything else. So you see people that own multiple businesses and have multiple streams of revenue, and they're super successful and everything. It probably all started with one really good one.
Yeah. Right. I guess what I was trying to say is you're trying to imagine you're trying to model it and see how they all work together.
Yeah.
How they can all be funneled. This is what I was looking for. How they can all be funneled into into a situation where you're living out your potential. There you go. That's what I was looking for.
I think so. Because
you can imagine up a funnel of all these things going into it, and you live your potential because of it.
Yep.
So I like that, man. So something else that I wrote this down is some little cliff notes here. One thing that I missed and I was talking to you about this the other night because I have a friend, and I'm going to leave it kind of vague here, who is quite a bit younger than I am. But he is, I think that he has a lot of potential, and he's in a phase in his life where he is trying to navigate a lot of different new experiences, and he's trying. He's at that phase where he's got a lot going on, and he wants a lot more going on, if that makes sense. And I was talking to you about how I'm trying to coach him inadvertently, not that he's ever really asked me to coach him, but here's something else I want to do. I want to give back. So this is who I want to be. I want to be somebody who helps young people younger than I am. Because you touched on it a minute ago. Don't judge the people who are doing what you were doing 10 years ago. And I it's easy for me to look at a 21-year-old and go, that dude's being an idiot. Me, at 21, I was an idiot. I was an idiot for several years after being at 21. I'm still an idiot. But one of the things I want to do is not judge them, and I want to be who they need. I want to be who I needed at that age, right? The guy who came up and empathized in the way that was like, listen, I understand where you're at in your life because I was there and I don't know everything, but let me try to save you some years here and tell you how to get what took me 5, 6, 7 years to figure out. Let me help you figure it out now. By the time you're my age, you'll be a master, and hopefully that person will turn around and do that to everybody that they know that's younger. And it creates this chain of people coaching, guiding, helping people that are living through phases that they once lived through. That because, when I was 16, 17, 18, all the way up to probably 24, 25 years old, I could have used somebody to step in my life and be a mentor.
I wish.
Not that I was asking for that. If you'd asked me that back then, I'd have been like,
I told you to fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. However, if
it was the right person.
If it was the right person with the right approach, that's what I'm trying to say.
It's the approach.
Me, I'm trying to be the right person with the right approach to step into as many of these younger people's lives and say, listen, I'm no genius. I don't have it all figured out, but I do want to help where I can with what I can. And that's my way of giving back. What does Andy Frisella say? We spend all the time picking the crops from the soil, right? But we don't spend time cultivating the soil and replanting the seeds and giving back. And this is just, like a farmer's way to describe the situation.
The full circle
situation, right? And he says you gotta cultivate, you gotta give back to that. You gotta put some some topsoil in and maybe some compost down, and put some seeds in, and that's basically you giving a piece of what you've learned back to the younger people. It doesn't take anything. Lucas is almost 10 years younger than me. It doesn't take anything away from me to help coach him and say, hey, listen, I've been in this particular, I don't know everything you're going through, but I've been in this particular situation that you're in. And man, this is what I advise. This is what I learned. This is how I learned it. And these are the things that happened to me, right? Or
make your decision.
Here's the decisions that I chose that steered me wrong. And I wish there had been somebody standing in front of me that was 30 years old when I was 20 and said, listen, kid.
Yeah, because the problem with people that are much older, not saying it's a problem. The approach is off.
And as you young punk, you think you know everything.
Well, and also as a 20-year-old, you don't want nothing. You
don't want nothing to do with a 50-year-old guy.
This guy's twice my age.
You don't want nothing to do with some 60-year-old man.
Yeah.
He don't know shit.
Exactly. You lived in a different time, and you make all these excuses in your head. But for sure, I wish nothing more than to have someone like that, because I think, and I had that for sure, but in some ways, but the approach was definitely not always there.
Yeah.
And I think one of the main reasons that I still suffer from depression a little bit and stuff, and one thing that really hits me hard is that I feel like I got such a late start because I didn't have
same sis.
that thing, everything that I have and done has been in the last 5 years or less.
Same.
All of it. If I just would have started 5 years earlier, man.
Yeah. Well,
like, think about how different our lives would be.
Wish you just started 10 years earlier. Wish I would have started 15 years earlier. The fact of the matter is, spend less time remembering, Phil, because that's not who you are anymore.
I know.
It doesn't do you any good to think about that.
Yeah, I know.
Think about who you are right now.
Yep.
Who you want to be and what you're doing about it. And I know we've said that on a previous episode, I think, but that's really the point of the story. Whether you were successful or unsuccessful, whether you were great or whether you sucked in the past, that's not who you are now. And I think that's the note that we need to go out on this one. So when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself who you are right now, who do you want to be, and what are you doing about it? And I'm going to probably leave off with something like that. What do you got, Phil?
Nah, man, that's it.
Yeah.
For sure. That's a thought that I still struggle with.
Yep.
Is getting started. What happens if I would have started earlier? Well, just have to remind yourself, have the conversation. It takes a minute or two to have a conversation with yourself. Well, this is who I am now. It is what it is. And I want to keep progressing forward.
The truth is, what ifs don't exist.
Yeah.
They're not real. What if I would have done this? What if I would have done that? Guess what? You didn't. It doesn't exist. It's not real. What's real is right now.
And make sure you don't keep asking that question.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Where you are right now, what ifs don't exist. Where are you going and what are you doing about it? So you think about that. Whether you were great or whether you sucked in the past, that's not who you are now. Keep working, keep moving forward, keep digging your heels in the ground, and keep getting after it. That's all I got to say.
I'm with it.
And I'll go out on that one.